What's up guys, and welcome back to another video covering Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, and today I am going to be talking about the new Alolan Forms that are being introduced in these games. We've seen 5 Pokemon with these forms so far, but we are sure there are more to come, of course. So yes, we're going to be talking about what other Pokemon might be getting these forms, what ones we might have been teased at already, as well as what ones are likely to because of certain connections. So of course the 5 we've seen so far are Executor, Mr. I don't know, Huge and Tall, that's a terrible name I know. Then we have Sandshrew and Sandslash, and obviously Vulpix and Ninetales. 4 ice types now, and then one that keeps the same primary type, just gains one alongside it. So what else could we be looking forward to? Well, first up, leaks ahead, so if anyone doesn't want leaks then you can go away. It's only a small one though. These are the other Pokemon that were hinted at that they would get these new forms. For example, we had Butterfree with Bug Psychic, the Rattata was going to become a Dark type line, or gain a Dark type form. Nidoking and Nidoqueen gaining or becoming Poison fighting types, Arcanine and Growlithe becoming Water types in their Alolan forms, the Abroline becoming fighting types, and of course the Doduo and Dotrio becoming basically fighting flying types. So those are the ones that have been leaked out. I can't say whether they're true or not. They are just possibilities I'm throwing out there. To be honest, I could see pretty much all of them. Butterfree we know has been sort of hinted at as being Bug Psychic. If you talk about Butterfree Mega Evolution, one of the first suggestions for typing is Bug Psychic, the one being Bug Fairy. Rattata I could very easily see becoming Dark types, Raticate Mega Evolution when I did that, normal Dark is a suggestion. Nidoking, Nidoqueen, yes, you could easily add a fighting type on there, just bulk them up a bit, make them a bit slimmer, and just give them, make them a bit, I guess stand a bit taller, who knows. Arcanine and Growlithe, obviously, bit of a weird one for water types here, but you could very much imagine, it's not hard. Well, I mean, you can imagine it if you have a good imagination, but I can imagine like instead of having all this fur, change it to fins. So like Growlithe's got a fin on top of its head, a fin instead of the tail, and then obviously sort of just change it to blue. It could work, who knows? And the Abroline, just basically bulk them up a bit, and you could have fighting types there. It's a bit hard to imagine, a bit hard to sort of visualize. If you can't see it, then you can't see it basically, and obviously Doduo, Dotrio, I could very easily see them happening. So what other Pokemon are there apart from that? Well, we have one of the new trial leaders called Kiawe, and he's basically hinted to us, maybe confirmed, I don't want to say confirmed, another Alolan form. We know, the description here is Kiawe is a captain whose expertise is in fire type Pokemon. Together with his Marowak, he studies the traditional dances that have been passed down in the Alola region. Marowak. He's a fire type expert. Why has he got a Marowak? Well, maybe Marowak could get a new Alolan form that could be ground fire, could be a pure fire, could be like fire rock, anything like that. It could get one of those, and it could stay fairly similar, except it could just be slightly different, I suppose, if you guys get what I mean there. For example, here is some fan art basically of a fire type Alolan Marowak. I would expect it to change a bit more than this though, mainly in colour, maybe have like a darker brown body colour. Yes, the bone is probably along the right tracks, especially since Kiawe studies dance, and you could very easily see Marowak with a flaming, bone club dancing around like this, like dancing around the fire sort of thing, and probably yes, a fire neck as well. A fiery neck could work quite well. I'm assuming the skull is going to change slightly though, maybe a different formed skull, similar. I mean, currently it looks like a Charizard skull, I think. So maybe make it more spiked sort of thing, and I could very easily see that becoming a fire type there. So that's one possibility. Another one is, it was suggested to me earlier today actually, we have Shellder and Cloyster, yes? What lore is there behind Shellder? Well, we know that for a Slowpoke to evolve into a Slowbro or a Slowking, it has to be bitten by a Shellder. Now, if it's bitten on the tail, it becomes a Slowbro. If it's bitten on the head, it becomes a Slowking. But the Pokemon looks completely different. The head of Slowbro looks nothing like a Shellder. Well, what if they introduced Alolan forms for, Shellder and Cloyster, to make them look like that, and then I went on Reddit, and of course there's fan art for this already. This looks brilliant. I will link it down below. So you can see there the Shellder basically looking exactly like you would see on the head of a Slowking or a tail of a Slowbro, and then Cloyster looking similar design obviously, but looking quite different. I love both of those. They are really cool. I really want this to happen now, and Water Steel I feel like is a really good type for it rather than Water Ice, because obviously the design fits it more. One other idea I had was Water Rock before I saw this art, but I think Water Steel works a lot better, and I could definitely see this happening. What else have we got? Well, one other thing to note is that the Alolan forms we've seen so far are, of course, Vulpix and Ninetales, and what's the other one? Vulpix, Ninetales, and Sandshrew, Sandslash. Now, one thing, in the original games of Red and Blue, these were exclusive. These were exclusive evolution lines to certain games. I believe Santa and Sandslash were exclusive to Blue, possibly, whereas Vulpix and Ninetales were also exclusive to Blue, I guess. But then we have Growlithe and Arcanine are two that have been leaked. Those were the obviously the opposites to Vulpix and Ninetales, so it would make sense for those two, because obviously Growlithe and Arcanine were only available in Pokemon Red. And the opposites to Sandshrew and Sandslash were Arbok and Ekans, so possibly Arbok and Ekans could get some Alolan forms as well if they were going to go that way. And obviously you could have Ekans and Growlithe's lines being exclusive to Sun and the other two being exclusive to Moon, so giving you that sort of like parallels to the original games. What typing could these two be? Well, they're poison right now. I saw a suggestion, I think it was on Reddit, for Coral Snake, so being water poison, that's a possibility there. Or they could lose their poisonous entirely, I suppose, and they could change it around a bit. And really they could make it, these Pokemon, it's not just like making a Mega Evolution where the Pokemon can only change slightly. They can change the Pokemon's design almost entirely, as long as it keeps a similar body shape, and they can link it in fairly well with lore. So really they could do anything here. Water poison, they could probably go for a ground snake, who knows. There's loads of different options here. But now we have a few more that I've focused on the Kanto decks here, as I'm sure you could basically tell already. But the reason for that being, I believe most of these Alolan forms are going to come from the Kanto decks. I don't know why I believe that, maybe from the leaks, I don't know, I just feel like most of them will be. So I'm focusing on the Kanto decks here, although I'm sure there are plenty of lines I could draw from the rest of the decks. I just don't want to make like a 25-minute video listing every single one. So I'm just going through a few here. First up we have Geodude and Golem. These would be amazing since obviously we have volcanoes in the Alola region becoming like rock fire types. So that would be really cool, having like a magma Pokemon, a real magma Pokemon. We've seen designs for a Mega Golem where it's got like magma between its rocks, and just imagine what that would look like. Sort of a fiery Golem with, instead of like rock arms, you could have fiery arms. I think that would just look really cool. That's just my opinion though. Then next up we have a Jinx. Jinx could work really well as like a hula dancer. This is some fan art already for this thing, and it looks really cool. Different sort of body colour, different hair colour, and obviously with the hula sort of hula skirt, this will work really well. What type could this be? Well, I feel like Grass Psychic would work really well here, as opposed to the Ice Psychic, which changes the primary type, from the iciness to hula and stuff like that. I feel like that would work pretty well, and keeping the same type, secondary type, because I feel like that sort of identifies what Jinx is really. Then one other line I was thinking about was the Oddish line, particularly Oddish and Bellossom, because obviously Bellossom also based on a hula dancer, and it would fit, it will fit right in with the Alola region anyway. I don't know if they can give Bellossom a new form, because of course it already looks pretty Alola-ish, but of course they could do something like that. And they could do the same with Oddish, really, make it more Alola and give it some funkiness to it, but of course then I don't know what type they would be, okay. They're grass types, so what would Bellossom be in its Alolan form? Grass fire maybe, or something like that? Grass poison, maybe it would get the poison type, but that just seems too sort of weird and normal, so I don't know. It's just something I thought I'd mention. But for the last few we have here, these aren't sort of ones that are suited to the Alolan region. These are the ones that they could easily give a type change to, since it's been needed for so long. For example, first up we have Golduck, water psychic type, hello, could happen, who knows. Gyarados, yet again, this is another opportunity for them to make Gyarados a water dragon type. In its Alolan form, water dragon type, that would work really cool. I hear you ask how would it work with Mega Evolution. Well, of course, we haven't actually seen any mention of Mega Evolution yet, so who knows if we're getting it. It could be like a feature that's being left to the after game. Who knows though, we'll see in the future, but they'll sort it out, I suppose. Then, moving away from the Kanto decks quickly for a couple more here, we have first up Sunkern and Sunflora, which would work great as grass fire type. Sunflora, instead of having its nice sunflower face, give it fiery face and stuff like that, and obviously Sunkern could have some fire coming off the top of it, instead of being a nice little seedling. That would look really cool, because obviously they could play it as, when they moved to the Alola region, there was so much sunshine coming down, they photosynthesized until it burst the flame. That would work really cool, and obviously it could be grass fire types. Then two other Pokemon that could be suited for Alola forms are Solrock and Lunatone. Yes, I mentioned this in my video about Minior, but they could work having Alola forms, because of course they're both rock psychic. That's nothing too special. Why not give Solrock a nice form, instead of having these rock things coming off of it, make them flames and make it a rock fire type. Similar thing with Lunatone here, instead of giving it, well, I mean, you wouldn't be able to change this too much, but give it a new design, give it some nice floaty particles, and make it a rock fairy type, maybe a rock dark type, whatever type they choose to associate with the moon. I feel like any of those would really work. And those are just my picks for the Alolan Forms, or possible Alolan Forms that could happen. As I said, I'm mainly focused on the Kanto decks here, since they're likely to as well, because they like doing some fan service to the people who like Kanto, so there's that. But what I want to know is, what Pokemon would you like to see get Alolan Forms? And as well as that, what Pokemon do you think will get Alolan Forms? Do you think, Pokemon like Shellder and Cloyster, do you think that works really well with the Slowbro stuff? Do you think, we're going to see that? Or do you think that Game Freak's just going to, sort of skim over it and miss it completely? Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. But for now, this is going to be it for today. I'll be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.